Today, with the piece of wood that we prepared earlier, I'm going to make a T-halving joint. And today we're looking at the form of a T-halving. So this piece of wood is going to fit down in so that it forms a flat frame. Could just do a butt joint, but not an awful lot of strength in there. T-halving is that, cross-halving is that. I'm going to make it from this one piece of wood. So I know the width is 50. If I allow myself 150, I'll have something that's quite neat. Notice the square going in against that datum edge that we've spoken about before. Now to separate these two pieces is just a rough cut. Now that I have two pieces of wood, I can start to consider the joint. To be, I want it to sit approximately 50mm in. So, as my measurement, 50mm mark, and again mark with our pencil. I bring this piece in and I cover that line, right? And I use that to mark the width. Square across again. And this time when I put this on, then you'll see half of the line there, and if I move across from that side, half of the line's visible from there. Square the lines down, and working from the face side, I can't do the face edge this time, but working from the face side, square the lines down. And I want to go through half the thickness of the wood. So measure 21 and set the marking gauge. In order to check the setting I have, I bring it in and I put a mark. Doesn't matter which side I come in from, and then I come in from the other side and put another mark, and if I have two marks, as I have here, I reset the marking gauge in between the two marks. Doesn't matter if it's big or small, to start off with, in between the two marks is the correct size. Having done that, gauge from face side. Put a dot there, stick it in that dot and gauge it down, and it will fall into that dot. Turn it over, face side. Having marked it, make sure you indicate the waste wood. Now it would be possible just to go straight in there with a saw and saw that, but this is an accurate sawing as compared to the time when I separated the two pieces. I'm going to knife and V this to make cutting out accurate. Using the square to cover the good wood, face side, face edge again, then I'm going to knife across on the line. After that, into the vise, and going to V that. Now that's where I take the chisel and work into that knife cut, just gently, and create a V shape for the saw to run along. Just a shape for it, that's it. And finally, again, because of the accuracy of the cut, the wood's in the vise, and start off by making a small V shape or a small sock across the top. My eyes are such that I can only see two lines at a time, so I'm going to take the top line and the one nearest me and work it down. Then by looking over, work it down, and then finally straighten it out. Going to repeat that process for over there, but we'll skip that on the video. With my chisel being approximately half the width of the wood, it's going to help me when I'm cutting it out if there was a saw cut in the middle. Notice no knifing V this time, because it's a saw cut in the middle, it's not an accurate size, it's not providing a shoulder for us to work against. It's time to chisel those out. Taking my chisel and holding it like a stabbing tool, I can't hold that mid-air, so resting my elbow on the vise and using the vise also as a guide, I can bring that in and then work upwards. Nope. Using a piece of scrap wood, I've clamped the wood down so it's nice and firm. I'm quite happy to come in here and use the chisel and my hand. However, if you're not, then use a mallet. Working the chisel uphill, work towards the middle. Getting close to the line, so down to that line and making sure I go upwards. You'll notice when using the chisel, my hands, both of them, are behind the blade. I'm now going to go ahead and do the same from the other side, but once again, we can skip that in the video. Now that I have created this tent shape in the middle with sloping sides on either side, take a chisel, work across and flatten it. As you get further down, one of the things that you need to be conscious of or aware of is not to go all the way through. Work towards the middle. I'm leaving it at that stage and we're going to return to this piece later. Rough that out, that's the piece that's to go in there, and what I now need to do is I need to cut this one so that it will fit in and overlap, creating the T shape. As with that piece, I'm going to mark this one out, but I'm not measuring anything. I'm going to put the wood on and mark. Face side, face edge. Square the line across. Take it down the sides. Then, as before, from the face side, I'm going to gauge. I haven't changed the marking gauge settings. They are as they were for that. Pencil line it and turn it over, face side. This time I'm going in, so I'm going to make a dot so that I don't carry on too far, and into the dot. Leaves me this top edge to do, and I simply use the finger marking gauge to take that across. You could use a rule. Face side there, I can still see the face end markings. It's this piece that's coming off, not that one, so I actually need to transfer my size all the way around. Now this is a sewing exercise. Knife and V on that line because it's to be an accurate cut. 3, and then the V with the chisel. Same as before. Establish a groove across the top. Bring it down in the heel. Reached your line, look over, take it down in the toe, reach the line, straight, and that's that one done. This time I'm going to sew all the way down, but before doing that I'm going to create a notch on the waistwood for me to sew, or to start the sewing with. So you see that I'm taking the knife down, then in at an angle, then the saw, and bring the saw down till it's level. Because I prefer to use dovetail saw, I have a small problem. It's not going to reach the bottom. Since my saw won't fit, I'm going to use a pull saw. This might be a cross-cut saw, but I'm actually ripping the wood, so the teeth are the wrong shape. And on I go. So watching carefully to make sure I don't go down either side. I get to the point where that comes off. There's a wee bit of cleaning up needing doing, so the chisel, again, both hands behind the blade, comes on and goes on flat. And you can work that down to make sure that this is level. So you need to work that area, then you can work from there up. So to work the top part, working the chisel on the flat, taking the wood down to that line. At the moment my two pieces won't fit, but I've also noticed that this is still needing a bit of cleaning, so in the vise, cross a grain using the flat of the chisel again, working from one side turning it around and working from the other side. The fit, it's tight. Because one of the things I can do to make this fit is to give that a plane and fit it. Otherwise I have to recut these shoulders. 3 gentle passes with the plane and it's fitting. Right, got it down nice and tight, good tight lines along there, one single line across there. That job's done.